Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for this edition of City Line. I think we're in for a very interesting discussion this afternoon. With us is Ms. Deborah Clark, who, as I said, represents the American Atheists.
Greater D.C. chapter.
Greater D.C. chapter. Okay. Let's begin by making sure that we're speaking on the same terms and tell us what an atheist is.
Yes, I need to tell you what an atheist is because dictionary definitions of atheism are usually written by theists. Atheism means without theism. The Greek prefix a, meaning without, theism, meaning the belief in a god or gods. Okay. That prefix might be familiar to you in the words asymmetrical, apolitical, means without. So I live without God beliefs.
Okay. Have you always lived without God beliefs?
Well, I was born atheist, as everyone was. And I remember my first indoctrination as a youngster. I began to be indoctrinated into the Catholic faith. Now, doubts accumulated from the age of about 5 on, and finally, as I reached my teen years, it sort of hit me that this, especially Christianity, was a glorification of human suffering in the crucifixion of a human being displayed all over the school. And I began to feel that there were other aspects which were not satisfying, and that perhaps I should be an agnostic. And later on, as I couldn't bring myself, no matter how hard I tried, to believe in a God, I had to admit to myself that I am an atheist, and I've been much more relaxed ever since.
Okay, now you made a rather blanket statement earlier. You said that we are all born as atheists. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, we're all born without religion. We don't have religion until we're taught that there is or may be a God looking down on us, judging all of our actions, and that there's a hell and a life after death. And by the way, these concepts are not unique to Christianity. Any casual exploration in the library will show that hundreds of years before the Christian era, there have been prophets, such as Zoroaster, who said that there was a heaven and hell and an almighty always watching all of your actions. Lao Tse said, turn the other cheek. And all of our values that work in society.
Now, you said that you questioned early on, from 5 on, and in your teen years there was also additional questioning. And you mentioned the term agnostic,
yes,
which is merely what?
Well, agnosticism has a couple of different definitions. Spencer, I believe, uses the term to mean not knowing or not wishing to commit as to
doubting.
Whether...
Doubting that there is a deity?
Yeah, I guess that's a way of saying it. It's a way of saying nothing, really. I mean, when a person is asked, do you believe in God? The agnostic, perhaps not believing in God, will say, I'm an agnostic, which that means without knowledge.
Without knowledge.
Yeah.
Why do you think you passed over, you went from Christianity, passing over the whole spectrum of agnosticism to atheism? What was it that, in quotation marks, sold you on becoming an atheist as opposed to an agnostic? What was the thing that sealed it for you in terms of your information and your beliefs?
Well, I think 2 things. First of all, no evidence that there is a God. And secondly, the evil influences of religion in society. I saw that most of the problems, the public issues, were quibbles, moral quibbles, where none need exist. And today, I think the same thing's going on.
What kind of example? I mean, can you give us an example of what you mean by that?
Well, a couple of good examples. One is the family. I was taught at first that the family is the basic unit of society. At the time, I questioned it. Isn't the individual the basic unit of a human society? We come in units of one. And I get so tired of seeing the black people disparaged because, oh, the women are the head of the household. And I don't see anything wrong with that in itself. There's nothing, if that's the way it is, I don't see why we should be criticized for having a women-headed household. And I think it's more and more normal all the time.
But religion doesn't question that, does it?
Oh, absolutely.
In what sense?
Well, in the main book that all of the Christians read, the Christianism book, known as the Bible. It's stated in many places, and if you want more information exactly where slavery is laid down in the Bible and where the patriarchy is demanded in the Bible, just write to the post office box, 23118, Washington, D.C., 20026. That's our local chapter. We'll send you, if you'd like, we have an X-rated Bible where all the filth in the Bible about foreskins, incest, abuse, child abuse is all in here in the X-rated Bible, and you can see and consult with your own Bible that it's there.
We're going to get a little bit deeper into this issue, but we have to take a break right now. We'll come back with Father Carl Fisher in just a minute. Please stay with us.
We're back on City Line with our guest, Deborah Clark, and we're talking about black atheism. We kind of laid down the premise of atheism and so forth. Now, those who believe in religion believe at the center of the universe, or the center of whatever, is a God, whatever name by which we call him. What is at the center of your being, of your existence, of an atheist's existence?
Yes, I think my own consciousness is at the center. Myself is at the center. I perceive the world, and I enjoy the world, and I enjoy my life.
Does that in any way give connection to what transpired before your being and what will transpire after your being?
I know nothing of what happened before I was born, and I'm sure I won't experience death.
So there's no connection to anything that preceded
Now,
you?
only this life counts, and that is where religion is so detrimental to the black community. Religion demands attention to a higher force, a mythical higher force, attention, energy, always be thinking of this higher force. It's very detrimental and distracting. It distracts our economic resources, it distracts our psychological resources. Religion demands that people recognize their sinfulness and their evilness, the implicit evilness of the human being. An atheist sees that all of our problems are solved by human reason, and we are able to solve all of our problems, and we might as well get cracking and do it. This prayer, were you going to
I was going
question me?
to ask in terms of dealing with moral issues and so forth, what source or what authority do you tend to get your moral beliefs and so forth from?
It doesn't take much. Common sense. We know what it takes to be a good citizen in this society. We already have secular laws to tell us that.
But didn't most of those secular laws grow out of religious doctrines?
Those are the laws we must nullify. Those laws that say that want to regulate human relationships ought to be nullified. Laws that demand we take oaths to a higher authority don't allow for a pluralistic society. That's the whole point of separation of state and church, to allow for individuals to live according to the law and still keep their various different beliefs. Now, we see a trend now where certain religious rightists want everyone to live just as they do in their narrow set of lifestyle. And I don't think it's fair, and I don't think it allows for a pluralistic society.
Now, you think that atheism, then, is the answer for black people?
It certainly is.
Why do you believe, though, that religion has held black people back? Hasn't it always been the foundation in the black community?
In Maryland, in 1695, the first laws were passed to prohibit black people from assembling. By 1809, blacks were allowed to assemble under the supervision of a white person. By 1843, those laws said that, all right, blacks could worship under the supervision of a white person. Now, this took out all the possibilities of different societies, drama societies. In Baltimore, it was a little more liberal. They says, okay, you may have your meetings, but under the supervision of a policeman who will report to the mayor. By 1946, after I imagine black people decided, oh yeah, well we're going to make so many societies you won't be able to keep track of us. The law was passed. No social clubs, no moral societies,
But that's
no
state,
drama
isn't it?
clubs.
How does that speak to the churches holding back blacks?
I'm saying that for a long time, church was the only alternative. It's inhibited our development in other areas, scientific areas. And the churches certainly didn't put up much of a fight. They want black people to be submissive and obedient. And so do these religious rightists. They're afraid of human individuality. They're afraid of what might happen. They think humans are wild animals. They think humans are not capable of living in society.
Okay, as mentioned, we've been joined in the studio audience by Father Carl Fisher. And Father Fisher, I'd like to ask you, considering a lot has been said, but if you could direct yourself to some of the discussion that we've had so far from the Catholic Church's point of view.
First of all, I'd like to mention that the reason I'm in the audience and not up on the set is because Ms. Clark objected to my being seated up there. I think that in itself indicates that Ms. Clark does have some sense of moral code or some kind of values that she would in effect deny really existed. I think she made the statement that people are born atheists. I think that we can see from human reason that that is not true. It is so innate within the human person, within the human personality, that there is an awareness of God within the human person.
Then why do we need Bible schools? Why do we need Sunday schools? Why do we need church? We already have it. You're saying we don't need these sermons. We don't need the Word to tell us how to live. We've already got it. I don't think that's
the very
true, Father.
fact that a man can know of the existence of God from human reason is the point I'm making. The whole meaning of agnosticism is the fact that agnostics feel that we cannot demonstrate from reason the existence of God. Persons who possessed minimal rational thinking ability can come to a conclusion that God does indeed exist. It is innate within the human personality. From the very point of reason, we can come to realize that there is an order within the universe. If you don't mind, I'm speaking, please.
But order in the universe exists. Natural laws exist. It does not mean that a God necessarily created that order. I can look at a flower and say, isn't it beautiful? A God must have made it. That is jumping to conclusions. That flower is there.
Who do you think created that flower then?
That flower grew from a seed.
And where did the seed come from?
The seed came from the parent of the flower. And
where did that come from?
I don't know.
Obviously you don't know, and that's exactly your problem.
And
you don't
I'm
know.
not going to make up stories about it. I'm going to admit that I don't know the answer, and I'm going to continue to explore this world and find out.
The great Greek writer Socrates said the beginning of wisdom is the admission of ignorance. So I'm happy to hear that you don't know. I think that we have many sources, those of us who believe in God, to certainly support and to deepen what we know as a fact that God does indeed exist. We know from divine revelation the historical person of Jesus Christ.
Would you
the
please
historical
tell me
person
what
of Jesus
this
Christ.
Jesus Christ is not a historical person. Father, please. The main issue here,
what's easily asserted is easily denied.
Is that the irrational beliefs of religion should not be foisted upon all citizens. You're free to believe if you like. However, I do not wish to live under your narrow codes of lifestyle, which says that I must have a man over me to support me, which says that I am a sinner and not worthy of perfection, not even worthy of striving to even think of trying for it, not to believe that this world is coming to an end and it doesn't matter. When black people have rage, the church suppresses that rage. It says, accept. That's wrong. Black people's rage should be channeled to changing the conditions that cause injustice. And I really resent the attempt of religionists to suppress
Okay.
the
We're going
feelings
to come
of
back and
injustice,
continue this in just a minute.
which
We do have
are
to take a break.
certainly
Please stay with us.
justified.
We'll be right back.
Subject is black atheism, and just before the break we heard from Father Carl Fisher. And Father Fisher, I'd like to ask you a question. One of the things that Deborah Clark said was that religion is an inhibitor to the black community, meaning that it pretty much holds black people back. This has been a contention that's been held through the years, through the ages, that the religion is an opiate of the people. How do you respond to that?
First of all, I would totally deny that. True religion, there have been many sins committed in the name of religion, and I think that every Christian person would be the first to admit that. But the whole concept of a religion, the whole concept of a loving relationship with a God is designed to free the human person. It is not designed to suppress. It is not designed to hold people back. It is designed to enable man to very naturally respond to the full fulfillment of his human potential. And we are guided in that because of the fact that man is not perfect. We have beyond us, we have beyond us another force, and that is the force of God. That is the force of God
men and women
to
are
enable
perfect
us
human
to be
beings.
able to
And in
respond
fact, the
to the
church does
important
not
things in life.
encourage response. The church is not a group of clubs which are politically active.
You know, with all due respect to you, you know, one of the things that you're guilty of doing, I use the word guilty, especially with regards to you, is the fact that you are preaching, you are in effect preaching your own moral code, trying to impose your own sense of values upon us.
At the same time, to lay that guilt trip on me.
Claiming that you're not even attempting to do that.
That's the way you make your living.
Excuse me, Ms. Clark. May I interject? And I'm wondering whether or not I'm hearing something here. You have a set of beliefs. You have a set of beliefs.
But she denies beliefs.
Excuse me, Father Fisher.
Yeah.
Is there a slight intolerance from both ends here of one other's
Have you ever seen an atheist on a religious talk show?
Is there a certain intolerance here of each
Have you ever
other?
seen
You know, the interesting thing is that obviously we are diametrically opposed. She says there is no God. We know there is a God.
Explained in the media.
Okay.
There is intolerance here, and it's not on my part.
Okay.
It's on the part of the religious establishment, which censors. And another thing, here's the more unhealthy attributes of religion, that unhealthy attitude about sex. Is there really a reason to ban nudity? Is there really a reason that people can't be educated about birth control? We should want to know everything there is to know about our bodies. Why should it be so dirty? The Bible calls sex dirty. If you want the X-rated Bible, write to the post office box.
We categorically deny that. God
all
never
the quotes from the
created
Bible
anything
of all
that was
the
dirty.
foreskins, the dirty, sex, rape. It's all in the Bible.
Now,
The
Ms.
human
Clark
body
uses the
is
term
treated
dirty. Is
as
that
dirt
not
all
pushing a moral
throughout the
code, a
Bible.
sense of values
And not
that
only
she denies
that,
she has?
slavery is upheld in the Bible.
Okay,
How do you think the South Africans get away with what they're
Okay,
doing?
let's do this. Why don't we give a few seconds to wrap up and a few seconds to wrap up this end of it, and let's try to move on to a few more issues that are still outstanding. Father Fisher?
First of all, it's interesting that Ms. Clark obviously is pushing her own code of standards while denying that she's doing that very thing.
I haven't
That's exactly
explained
what
my
she's
code
doing.
of standards.
It's
I have said
interesting.
nothing about my code of standards.
It's interesting.
Father,
it's
you
interesting
have plenty of opportunity
that,
to expound.
as
I don't. And I insist on clarifying my position. I'm not the only black atheist in history.
It's interesting, the lack of respect that is obviously evident with us is due, I think, in part because of the fact that if one does not believe in God, that one is not bound to common standards of decency and respect for the human person.
How can you say that I'm not bound to common
No one is
standards
bound.
of decency?
There is
I'm sitting here
there
fully
is no
clothed.
motivation
I
to do
obey the
anything
law.
that is right and
I am
proper.
a law-abiding citizen.
There are no consequences.
I care about my fellow
you, Father
human
Fisher.
beings. How can you say I have no standards?
Okay.
It's slander. That's what it is. You don't know my standards. You don't know my values.
The hatred,
you are
the
there
contempt that you
to
have for me
condemn
is so evident, and that speaks louder.
I must speak louder. You have the floor
Okay, thank you, Father Fisher.
all the
Thank you.
time.
Any other points that...
Well, I'd like to mention that an interesting area of exploration would be
You obviously take issue You're very
You mean, do I
emotional
disagree?
about this. Yes.
Religionists have a tendency to categorize atheists and say, oh, they have no standards, they have no morals, you can't live without the Word of God. It's not true. Ethics.
That's at the base, the basis.
Ethics is a system of deciding what is valuable and how human conduct can
Now,
be
let me ask you,
productive.
why should blacks find atheism appealing? What would blacks find in atheism?
What it would do would take people away from the distraction of religion. It would allow people to concentrate their energies on self-improvement, not worship an outside imaginary deity. We need to concentrate our efforts in our own selves, in our own community, thinking and participating in the political process. Our viewpoint is valuable.
Okay, that being accepted, your viewpoint is valuable, but I
As a black atheist,
I seem to sense that the intolerance goes beyond mere antagonism between you, atheists, and believers in God, and not being willing or able to accept them having their beliefs and you having
It's
your
not
beliefs.
atheists who burn Christians. It's the other way around. Christians burn and harass atheists. You could have advertised in college bulletin boards that there would be an atheist welcome to talk. That would have been taken down because the church does not teach people how to be good American citizens. The church does not teach people to allow for diversity in society.
Okay, we're going to take a question from home, someone who'd like to talk with you. Hi, caller. Caller?
Hello, ma'am.
You're on the air. You can go ahead now.
Yes, I was wondering, okay, Ms. Clark mentioned that where she came from is not too important. I was wondering how does she feel about death? Where does she think she's going to go?
When I die, the blood will stop circulating in my brain. I will be unconscious. Eventually, all of the life processes will stop. My heart will stop, my breathing will stop, and I will not be able to think anymore. I will be unconscious. Soon I'll rot away.
I don't care. You don't look forward to any future after death?
Absolutely not. There's nothing to look forward to.
Oh, okay. I have one more.
I'm here now, and this is the main show here.
Okay, thank you. I have one more statement, just a statement to make, please. Okay, you're concerned with people believing in what they can't see or believing in something that's not there. I do say that God is a title, okay? You have to believe there is a supreme being, okay? Just as
I have to believe that? I believe, oh yeah, there are supreme beings.
You have to believe.
Human beings are supreme.
Not see.
Human being is the supreme being on this planet. Human beings have control of the planet now. We are the supreme beings.
You must not be. Listen to this. In December, okay? No,
Okay, caller.
The end of October, you put on your coat because something hits your skin that you don't see. You see the effect. You don't see it. You don't see where it's coming from. But you put on your coat because you feel it. You have to feel that it is something here higher than man.
Okay,
Why do I
caller,
have to feel that?
Thank you for the call.
Who said so?
Okay, bye-bye.
Why do I have to feel that?
One last question. How did you get here?
Well, my parents
How
got
did
together
they got-
one
How
night.
did they get here?
Their parents.
Okay, you-
One night, or it might have been in the afternoon.
How did your family roots start?
Human beings evolved, just like all life forms on Earth. That's as much as we know now.
Okay.
Life evolved from the muck of the
Of the earth.
effluvium. Yeah.
Deborah Clark, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You have indeed excited us to thinking.
Yes.
And I'd like to refer to two magazines that are published by the American Atheist. And the magazine is entitled American Atheist. If you like further reading, try to look these up. Thank you for coming by City Line.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break now and go to T. Montier in the newsroom.